Hi friends, this is Suzy, your gaming guru. It is March 13th, 2022, and I'm here for the day of Suzy grumpiness and utter frustration. So what I'm going to do is rant a bit, tell you what's going on with King as far as I know it, and then maybe try to come up with some positive ways so I can get through my frustration to the other side of this. It's not looking hopeful right now. So, first of all, we know that King changes boards. We know that King gives an unequal experience to different people at different times based on their profiles, where they live in the world, what browsers or devices they use to access the game, whatever their reasons are. We get an unequal experience. We just kind of have to live with that. Then we have the problem where King makes changes, and that's particularly frustrating to someone like me who wants to help people. And so I go through and I record the levels, and then King changes the levels. And I have this struggle. Do I keep trying to stay up at the very top and keep just producing new recordings for new levels? That would get me more money through YouTube. It would be better for me financially and probably emotionally, because it's hard to keep coming back to old levels. But it goes against my nature of being able to help people. And I figure if there's someone who's struggling at level 10,000, they probably have the experience to get through it. They know sometimes persistence is key. They understand a lot of the strategies that got them to level 10,000. But if you have someone who's, under level 200 and they're new to the game, and all of a sudden the game that used to have 47 moves now has 10, that's a struggle that those folks probably are going to have a harder time meeting. And so I feel it's within my nature to want to help the people who need the most help. And that's why I spend more time redoing levels that have changed that have people stuck. So that's my personal problem in all of this. So then we come to this particular level and this change, which now is, in my opinion, and I'd love to see somebody challenge me on this, and I don't think that even the best mathematical minds could challenge me on this. It is mathematically impossible to win. And I'll tell you why. We have 37 moves to collect 1,500 candies, and we used to have to do that, but we had an open board. We had a 9x9 grid, so 81 squares. Now, we have a total here of 34 squares. 37 times 34 is 1,258. So let's say every single turn, every one of our 37 turns, we're able to get a new candy on the board in each of the squares. Not just in 3 squares where we match 3 and 3 more come down, but in each and every one of the squares. We still are short almost 250 squares compared to the 1,500 we need to gather. And you add to that this idea that only 9 of the squares is open initially. When I start playing this, I only have access to a few of these things until I start opening them up. And it takes a lot not only to open up each individual shell, but just even to, have the turns to collect those keys, because the keys aren't all available for us right away. So it is mathematically impossible for us to beat this. Now, it could be that King has just kind of made a little bit of a mistake and they're going to correct this very quickly. It could be part of their culture of just changing boards. We don't know yet. I try to avoid King community. I don't find it very helpful in a lot of ways, and I'm not extremely hopeful that they're going to be helpful this time. But I certainly will see if anyone has commented. I haven't seen anything yet, but I investigated very quickly. And if I don't see any comments, I will bring it up and see if they're going to address this. Because this is not only a harder level, again, I feel it's an impossible level. And they have made changes. I'm getting a lot of reports of a lot of our standard levels we've used, like level 3309 being changed as well. The number of reports I'm getting on changes has been increasing over the past couple of days exponentially. So as you can see, 14 moves, and I still don't even have 100 of each of these collected. So not only from a mathematical, but also from a practical point of view, this level is just not possible to beat. Very frustrating. All right, so let's talk about my hope for the future. For this particular level, my hope is that they just made a mistake and they'll change it. They'll put it back the way it was. I don't know how hopeful I am with that, but that hope does exist. Another hope that I have is that the culture of King will change. It used to be this little game, and from a relatively small, look at that, look at how awful that is, a relatively small company, and they put out 15 levels per week, and it was on that freemium model where it's free to play, and then if you want a premium experience, you pay money. And then what happened is Activision purchased it, a much larger company. And when that happened, a lot of changes occurred. And it seemed that they were more interested in earning money than in player satisfaction. And I think to be successful, you need to balance those two. You need to think of the bottom line for the company and the customer experience. In order to protect that bottom line, the customer needs to be able to have fun, or there's just not very much return value. And I think we lost a lot of that. And they were kind of banking on the fact that they were losing players, but they were gaining more players. It's a big, wide world. So they were gaining more players, enough to offset. And they make literally millions of dollars a day on this one game. And it seems that the longer Activision has owned this, the more frustrating these changes have been. But there are very strong talks that this is going to be purchased again, that Microsoft is going to purchase it. And I don't know about my particular feelings regarding Microsoft and Bill Gates and all of the different things that people feel about him or his company. But what I do know is that Microsoft is a more stable company than Activision. And I am hopeful that when the transaction occurs, and I think it's very likely that it will occur, that we'll have some positive changes. And that we won't experience quite as many disappointments as this, where all of a sudden everything changes and they take away time levels, and then they take away mystery candies, and then they take away points levels, and they make these sweeping changes that affect everybody. So that's my information. And then personally, I think I'm going to go out and get some sunshine. I would be enjoying my tea. I thought, well, that's a mood changer for me. I'll make this nice orange cinnamon tea, and I'll sip it slowly, and it'll help my throat. I made it way too hot. I can't even enjoy that right now. So I'm going to make some personal changes. Get a little exercise, eat a nutritious meal, maybe pray and meditate a bit, do things that I think can change me personally so that I'm not as negatively affected by those things that I cannot control, like King. To all of you who are like in the 900s and you're approaching level 1000 and you're here and you're stuck and you want help as to how you solve this, my unfortunate answer is you cannot. I don't think it's possible. I don't even think, sometimes there are levels that they seem impossible until we win, and you just have to persevere. I can't even recommend that on this level. As it stands currently, this level is absolutely impossible, mathematically and practically. And so you're just going to have to maybe play, older levels until this gets fixed, or play a different game, or find some way to bridge this gap. Playing this level over and over is not going to yield any good things. So I wish I could change that for you, but I can't. I just have to tell you that this is something unchangeable until King chooses to change it. All right, that's it for me. If you have any questions or comments, if you want your chance to rant, feel free to put those comments below. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Bye-bye.